Hello, good afternoon and welcome back to the Cinch Stadium for Game 2 of this Inter-Services Rugby doubleheader. I'm Kath Brazier and we have two results from you already from the IS 2025 campaign, and they've both gone the way of the Royal Air Force. The Vultures beating the Mariners last night and the RAF women emerging victorious against the Royal Navy 36-10. So, what can the men produce? Particularly the Dark Blues, who have a former Sate in their side, Sam Matavesi. I went to visit both camps earlier this week. Here we are again, Inter-Services. How do you use last year, what happened last year, as a motivation, or is it just business as usual as you go into these three games?
I think for us we take every year as it comes, and yeah, like you say, business as usual. Disappointing result against the French, but we're really going to try and turn that round now and take that into the RF.
Was that a sense of the French game, sort of, you know, you were still in training, you were still developing parts of the game? Have you got a good mindset now and you know how your Navy boy is going to play this time?
Yeah, definitely. We've taken a deep dive into that French game, and we're really trying to build back up from that game. We've taken away a few things, and yeah, we're looking strong for the RF.
How's preparation gone in terms of other matches and sort of, you know, to have that first game, and also for the Navy to be playing the first two, sort of get it out the way? That's what gives you an intensity to training as well.
Yeah, it definitely does. Yeah, we've had a bit of a mixed season, to be honest, with our results, and French was a big blow, that last sort of play of the game. But to be fair, we should have dealt with that game way earlier on and shouldn't have been in that position at the end of it. We had a really good game against the Police where we managed to score a load of tries, which was exciting for us because we've not put that team away. But again, it comes down to this cup final where Inter is just a different sort of brand or style of rugby, and things is everyone's cup final, so we're expecting a full competitive game on Saturday.
a win against the RAF last year, but disappointment at Twickenham. Do you take much from last year, or do you just not carry that burden from last year and just go into 2025 as a fresh year?
Yeah, it's always a fresh new group, people and things change, but you can't help that still burning away inside, you know, and it probably will do for a long time, certainly personally, but I try not to let that creep into the team itself. New group, fresh group, going into the inter-services, trying to win the title for this group, if you like, yeah.
You're sort of a new face into this role this year. Is there a new look?
This sort of refining what we have had, and we've gone through a bit of a journey with the boys and actually asking them how they want to play and how they believe rugby should look, and I've just sort of moulded it how I believe rugby should look as well, and the boys are really bought into the journey and where we want to go, but yeah, without perhaps giving too much away, I think there'll be a different look of RAF rugby moving forward.
There's a new coaching setup coming, and obviously myself being captain for the first time this year, we are looking to sort of vary our style of play, you know, different to previous years, which is going to be exciting hopefully for the lads and the crowd coming to watch. It opens up a few options, as I'd like to say without giving too much away. Yeah, we are going to pretty much play what's in front of us, but we have got some sort of, say, tricks up our sleeve. We've highlighted our strengths, and we want to try and definitely use them, exploit them against the Navy this Saturday.
O'Reilly says, remember my number because you ain't remembering my face, as Matt Dawson up in support. 3 tries in 4 minutes for the Army, and that looks to have sealed the deal already, you would think.
I certainly don't think we're going into the in-services as underdogs. History would say that we are underdogs because we've come third in every tournament since probably 2018. But essentially, the longer other teams keep winning, the closer and closer they are to a loss, and we're just hanging in the background, and we'll hopefully have a bit of luck on the day and make a bit of history ourselves.
Now, this fixture last year was an absolute cracker, with the Navy emerging victorious 25-24 by a single point against the RAF. So, what can the men produce? As I said, will it be another tight affair? To guide us through the commentary is Simon Ward and Tim Osman.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Cinch Stadium at Franklin's Gardens here in Northampton, as we get ready to launch the Inter-Services Championships for 2025. Delighted to have you with us wherever you're watching in the world. It's always a special occasion and a special moment in the diary, in the services diary, to get this rugby competition underway. It's certain to be another hard-fought contest. The great thing is nobody's quite sure how it's going to play out. The 2 teams just about ready to come out from the corner. The RAF and the Royal Navy will be keen and eager to get things underway. It always seems to be a long lead up in the season until they get to the real deal of the Inter-Services Championship. I'm Simon Ward, delighted to have alongside me Lieutenant Colonel Tim Osman, the Army head coach. Tim, do the juices still get going as much as they did in early days?
Yeah, absolutely. It's an exciting time of year, as you say, and it's all very calm and relaxed at the moment, and everyone's waiting for the next couple of minutes to get the national anthems done and set fair for the championship for this season.
Well, as the 2 teams get set to come out, let's take a look at the 2 lineups. It's an interesting selection for the RAF, with obviously a new coaching setup involved as well. It means there's a fair few new faces going into the team as they look to maybe change things around a bit. Here come the two teams, Jared Haylor and Mark Williams, the new RAF captain, leading their charges out with mascots in tow. It is a perfect afternoon for rugby, it has to be said. There was some rain around at lunchtime and the women's game got doused a few times through the course of their 80 minutes, but it has disappeared thankfully now. There's a bit of a breeze and that may come into play for the kickers. But it's a good turf. It'll take a good stud, as they say.
Yeah, it's a beautiful surface here at Franklin's Gardens. Probably one of the best in the country, and I'm sure both teams are really looking forward to having a good run out on it.
Well, as ever, the formalities will take place first before the action can begin. Always the hardest part, I think, for any players. Wherever you are, if you have to go through formalities,
it's a bit of hurry up and wait, isn't it?
You've got to smile and look relaxed and.
Yeah, I think
Swan theory.
The guys will be they'll be trying to sort of eyeball their loved ones or whoever may have come to see them today, parents, boyfriends, girlfriends, what have you, and then into the anthems just to relax yourself a little bit, and yeah, probably a hit of a bag perhaps or a last squeeze, and then they'll be into it and they'll forget all about it. So yeah, it's the last couple of moments.
So first up we have the national anthem performed by the band of the North Region RAF Air Cadets. That'll be after they've squeezed some flesh with the presentation party. So Air Vice Marshal Harv Smythe, the RAF Rugby Union President, will be joined by Vice Admiral Andrew Burns, his opposite number for the Royal Navy, and Stephen Nibbs, the head of Vodafone Business Security, who are today's match sponsor. Jared Haylor leading the presentation party through the introductions. While they're doing that, perhaps we can have a look at the two team lineups with the RAF lineup with 4 debutants in their starting 15 this afternoon. So it'll be a very big day in their rugby lives for those young men. Another one on the bench as well.
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting mix, as you said, with Tom Gardner, you know, new coach in town. Had a few months now to get together and put his stamp on things, his processes, his team around him, and an opportunity to look at some fresh players. It's an exciting time for Services Rugby. A much changed backline from the RF in particular, and so yeah, we'll see what sort of shapes and patterns they can bring to the game.
It's always the evolution, isn't it? It's always fascinating. Yeah. You bring these 23s through. You've done it with the Army as well, and then allows you to play maybe in a slightly different way.
Yeah, very, very rarely will you always get the same team out twice necessarily, or necessarily the team you want to, whether it's the injuries or operational commitments or what have you. You know, and there'll be changes too, clearly from the last run-up that the Navy had against Marine Nationale. So yeah, it's a good opportunity. We have to guess a little bit to see what that the RF will do this year. A change in shape or pattern or skill set, and obviously with the change in personnel, that will bring its own issues, you'd hope, straight away for the Navy, to see how they deal with players they're not necessarily particularly familiar with.
Yeah, on the other side, the senior service with plenty of familiar names, although the midfield is different. Jamin Hoffman comes in for just his second cap, alongside Jordan Gott, who's been moved out from his regular fly-half berth to join the 24-year-old outside centre. So it'll be interesting to see how Jake Hanley at fly-half and Jamin Hoffman and Jordan Gott work that midfield combo, particularly in terms of distribution.
Yeah, I think Jordan will be the first person to say that he prefers the wide open spaces and than the traffic areas. 11 Belgian caps to his name. He'll be looking to distribute. He's good in space. He's got good boot. But yeah, it'll change the style of play. He won't necessarily be banging it up, you don't think? That might be more Jamin's role. So we shall see. And again, from the RAF's perspective, in contrast, they'll be wary of two good kickers and, as you say, two distributors looking to try and play wide with the likes of Ben Chambers and Henry Glidden on the wide outside, and Craig Duncan marshalling things at fullback.
Right, presentations are done. Now the national anthem. So formalities are completed and the teams can get themselves ready to rock and roll into the Inter-Services Championship for this year. Just see, as Tim mentioned, just going to get some shoulders warmed up, get the pads moving.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's a technical exercise, it's more a bit of nervous energy to get the static nature of the last couple of minutes out of their legs a little bit whilst they've been singing their hearts out. And yeah, just to settle the nerves and get going, to a distraction perhaps.
And I have to say, the national anthem is never sung as well by any other teams as it is in the Inter-Services Championship.
In a military audience, exactly that.
Oh, it is wonderful to watch.
No, there's some decent experience on both teams. We mentioned the new faces amongst the RAF, but there's some good old war horses in there too. Josh McNally back in, and of course Dave Manning starting his final Inter-Services campaign as a player, and the tight head for the RAF too.
Yeah, he's playing at tight head. This afternoon was at loose head in this corresponding fixture last year, but winning cap number 25, Mr. Manning.
Yeah, very versatile. Been an excellent servant for RAF Rugby. Still doing a great job off the field as well. And assistant coach as well, I think, with the forwards, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it has been forwards coach, I think, for the last two or three seasons probably, and certainly at Oxford Harlequins he's got plenty of familiar faces within the ranks there as well.
That's right, a healthy set of forwards. James Roberts, Alex Hayton, and indeed Zach Taylor on the bench, all at Oxford Harlequins with Pete Davis. I think they got promoted this year, didn't they? Head coach Pete Davis did a good job. What he doesn't know about forwards play isn't worth knowing, Pete.
Nicky O'Donnell is on the whistle for this one, another experienced official. Whistle is gone and the Inter-Services Championship for 2025 for the men is underway. Be fascinating to see how things move up front as well. When you look at the relative experience, it is fairly obvious the senior service holds sway, but this is a different looking RAF side. Morbeek gets it back to Williams, challenging that dark blue line early doors. There is McNally back from Cardiff duty.
He's had a good season with Cardiff, Josh. He's played 18 games, I think, on the spin pretty much. He's playing regularly, looks fit and well.
And has made a good impression. All my Welsh friends and cohorts over the bridge tell me what a good impression he's made, both on and off the pitch.
Praise indeed, I imagine, from that side of the Severn Bridge.
Say an Englishman, yeah.
Especially one who's spent a lot of time at Bath as well. But interesting, Josh there, standing in the point. He's playing 6 today, as opposed to perhaps more regularly in a 4 or 5 on his back. Looking to spread the ball wide, and the RAF has started sprightly, and they're looking to play wide. Distribute the ball around and run this large Navy pack around, perhaps.
Happy to investigate the outer fringes as McNally decides to drive the shortest distance. Matavesi in there being an irritant as ever, always with a smile on his face, that said. And we have the first contretemps of the afternoon.
Noticed straight away Ben Chambers having nothing to do with that. Far too.
It's a good winger.
Far too sensible on the wing there. The housewife's favourite, staying well away from any trouble.
Is that his own personal nomination, or
no, certainly not.
Your household?
Yeah, exactly that. Staying well clear. But a positive start there. Good strip from the first carry there. I think Jared carried it in after the kick-off. Good take by Ed Pascoe on the left. And good to see the RAF throwing the ball around. And they've earned the penalty down the bottom right-hand corner and on the ascent right from the off.
And the first real chance for the RAF to mount an attacking ploy that no doubt has been tried and trusted on the paddocks through the course of this week.
Yeah, as you mentioned with that Oxford Harlequins link and their tight five, especially Manning, Roberts, Hayton, with Josh McNally coming into the pack too. Clearly, Alex Stanley, they should have makings of a decent lineup.
Stanley, it is the target as they look to set up the drive. Shifting slightly sideways, but referee happy to let the play continue.
Yeah, Josh Williams did a very good job coming through the back there, legally so far, but he's managed to disrupt that quite well.
McNally putting his shoulder to the wheel. How long is Nicky O'Donnell going to allow that to go? There's a concrete cuddle around the ball, and that's why it's going to be a Navy put into the scrum. Great D from the senior service.
Yeah, as I said, you can see Josh Williams right from the reception from Alex Stanley, get in behind his lifter, and then as soon as it gets anywhere near Big Ratu, and you have trouble getting the ball back off him in those tight areas. Fakla Takali really dominating well in the back of that maul to keep it up.
He's a canny operator, isn't he? Because I stood next to him this morning and I thought, actually, you're not a McNally size, but he's such an operator in that back row.
No, he's not super tall, but he's very strong, very dynamic, very powerful.
First feed then.
Oh, he's dropped the ball in there, Will. Will Wrigglesford just dropped the ball in and made a bit of a mess of that. What does referee O'Donnell do? Allows to reset? Yes. Scrum down again. He got away with one there. I don't know whether that's Sam Boxall being a cheeky scrum half, as most of them are, by disrupting his...
Surely not.
Well, yeah. Disrupting his oppo on the first scrum inject.
Wrigglesford is, of course, now a professional rugby player for this season, been at Cornish Pirates with Gavin Cattle.
He'll certainly learn scrum half play from Gavin. No, he's had a good few years, Will, through the junior club ranks at Eastleigh, and then through Navy Sevens into the senior setup, and having a good season down in Cornwall.
Pick up from Hayler. Allows Wrigglesford time to feed out to Matavesi, and of course you don't need to wind up Matavesi to get the go forward. So Matavesi playing now his rugby in Lyon, but back for both games in this Inter-Services Championship.
33 international caps is going to help you. And you have the talent, very versatile player as well. 2, 6, 7, 8. He wouldn't really mind any number on his back. I don't think Sam would play anywhere.
And it's not just the talent; it's the personality, it's the character, isn't it?
He brings a lot of glue to an already decent set of forwards.
That's his opposite number now. James Roberts hits his target. Dan Gilbert. Into midfield they go. Connor Morris finding no headway through, but the ball's still there. For those in light blue, Williams gets the call from Kieran Prescott coming off his wing looking for some work. Manning thinks about the sidestep, thinks better of it.
It's too early for Dave to get those tricks out just yet. It'll come. We'll wait for the Manning pick and go at some point.
There's his other man, Matt Harris, who gets the start at loose head this afternoon. Oh, the intercept is there from Gott. Scott. Ben Chambers on this near side. It's a foot race. Chambers is going to get there. And the Royal Navy are going to get the first try. Well, great anticipation from Jordan Gott. And then Ben Chambers goes half the length of the pitch to outstrip any running defenders to nail that score.
Yeah, Jordan managed to get into the passing channel there as the ball came out the back. he couldn't quite believe his luck. He was waiting for a whistle to blow, I think, but he got a great kick in. And Chambers, the UCAF's top try scorer, I'm led to believe as well, actually, then runs one in again and scores another cracker to set this fixture up for the Navy.
Great to see Ben Chambers back on the park. He's had so many injuries to contend with in recent years, and well, he's still got the wheels, hasn't he?
Yeah, he popped his shoulder at Twickenham last year, and then after his recovery, he managed to break his leg without knowing, which says all you need to know about Chambers' sense of feeling. But yeah, has recovered really.
Take that as you want.
Recovered really, really well, as you said. Certainly supplied a decent bit of toe there to score in the left-hand corner.
Jake Hanley is going to start from the tee.
Was that always the plan, or is it because Jordan Gott's blowing?
No, it was always the plan. So Dave Pascoe informed me. And it squeezes it in to get a good start from Hanley. Good start from the Navy. The RAF have had the majority of possession and territory, but just gifting that little pass that Gott was able to get his mitts on, and Chambers was away for that first try.
Yeah, I think they'll feel a little bit frustrated at that. A decent defensive set from the Royal Navy. Yeah, I don't think they've been out there 22 actually, have they really? And that reverse sees them 7-0 down after 8 minutes. Haven't really had any decent possession either. So the Navy will be delighted with that start.
Makepeace takes cleanly. This is where this young RAF side, and I say this with due deference, the young RAF side has got to learn about the ups and downs of the inter-services. Great take there. I think that was Connor Morris. Great take from the number 8. They've just got to be able to work mentally the undulations of any game.
Yeah, and it just goes to show that, you know, one little slight error, despite having 7 good minutes, can lead to that kind of turn.
Yeah. Connor Morris playing at 8 this afternoon, was at 7 last year.
That was a good take. It's quite swirly, isn't it, the wind?
Yeah.
As soon as you get that box kick above the height of the stand as well, he did really well to take that.
I was trying to work it out with my limited means of finger testing, but say which way the wind was going. That looked like it went forward there, I think.
Yeah, it was on. 3 or 4 on 2 there up the right-hand side, but Sam Morby unable to get his hand around that, and it went forward to Kieran Prescott. Exciting runner, he wants the ball in space. He's got a great step on him.
Sam Morby will just be relieved to get 9 minutes on the pitch, I think, after his first introduction in this corresponding fixture last year at Brickfields, and I think within seconds he'd got a yellow card and was sitting watching the next 10.
I wish he'd have 9 more minutes with the razor in the morning, to be honest, with that thing on his lip.
Yeah, there's a few tashes there.
It's the pilot in him, isn't it? Look at that, it's a cracker.
Yeah. Done his pilot's exams and stuff now, so he's fully qualified at Bryce Norton. Oxford Blue, of course, back in 2017, so plenty of intelligence and nous in that RAF midfield. Brigglesford puts a more measured feed, should we say.
That's a decent scrum for the Navy there. Sam Lindsay in to start this week. Really good work on the loose head.
He's quite a character, Sam Lindsay, as well. He'll make sure his opposite number knows about it.
He's a big, strong boy, and it's going to give Dave Manning a bit of work to do today.
Converted to prop over the last 7 years or so, Tam Lindsay. And now getting the start ahead of Kai Beasley. Now this, apart from that try, is the first time that the Navy have been in the RAF 22. Matavesi with plenty of options, with the likes of Pascoe, of course, at 6, Makepeace and Williams, 2 tall pieces of timber. Williams it is, as Matavesi comes round, gets the call from Gott. I thought Matavesi was going to straighten it up there, but Gott was the call. Brigglesford out to Bubba Watson.
Just slowing the ball down. I think they're going penalty away again. They're not rolling away.
Nicky O'Donnell right on top of it there. And immediately Jake
It's
Hanley.
Prescott, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, Prescott got called at the bottom of that one, didn't he? Looks like he's taken a hit for his pains.
That's probably why he couldn't roll away, so a bit unfortunate there to get stuck in the bottom. But yeah, a great set peel off the back of that Josh Williams take. First line out in the 22, good attacking platform, which we know the Navy like to play off. And yeah, if you've got Matavesi or Jordan Gott running at you, I know which one I would mark. But yeah, Sam offloaded on the decoy, and Jordan got through the gain line, and they were into it then. And the RAF unfortunately gave the penalty away, so that will be 10-0 down, I think, after 10 or 12 minutes.
Yeah, Josh Williams now playing pro rugby at Doncaster Knights
right, yeah,
with Rocco, who I hear is
I've
back.
I've heard of him. Yeah, I've heard
apparently.
of him, yeah.
Reasonable rugby player
Well, you can do a bit of, I think, yeah. No,
on
right,
his day.
Great to have
on his day.
Great to have Rocco back in the fold now. He's back from France. He brings a lot to the group. So yeah, hopefully we can see him in a red shirt very soon.
Simple 9-iron from Jake Hanley takes his team up into double figures, and with just about 12 minutes on the clock.
Feels like smash and grab, really, doesn't it? Yeah,
kind of.
Like I said,
they've had 2 entrances into the 22 and come away with points both times.
Excellent defensive set, and really good accuracy going forward with the ball from the Royal Navy. Off to a strong start, and yeah, the RAF, as I say, will be looking around and going a bit frustrated and aggrieved that they've had a good probably 6-7 minutes of possession there and nothing to show for their efforts so far.
I mean, you look back historically between these two, and I think in the last 3 encounters, there's only been 9 points difference in total.
Yeah.
And 8 of those was in the game 3 years ago. Of course, the draw at Brickfields in the glue pot of 2023, and then the solitary points difference last year.
Yeah,
so
I think in the last 8 games or so, well, the Navy have won 3 of the last 4, but there've also been 2 draws and 2 RF wins, so it's always very, very tight. And that 10-point margin may serve to be a lasting difference. Let's see what happens. And the RF can get some possession back and the territory with it.
Wrigglesford gets good distance on that. Now that tells me which way the wind's going. That's behind the Navy then, because it's forced the Air Force deep into their 22. And that may be a factor that the Navy look to utilise in the next, 27 minutes of this first half.
Yeah, decent clearance there by Ryan Pugh. The Aberravon Harlequin managed to get them back out their half. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? I think the height of that stand is proving a bit of a problem. That was a good kick from Wrigglesford.
Be very interesting to see how the hinge of the Royal Navy looks to manage the game, particularly in terms of kicking and where they want to play. We've already seen the RAF keep ball in hand for the majority of these first 14 minutes or so. Makepeace, one of the taller fly halves in the world. Hanley back in the pocket. And yeah, you can just see the carry on that. Good work from Ryan Pugh again. Just keeping his eye on it, tracking it all the way back. Opting not to boot the ball this time.
I think the player had contact with referee O'Donnell there, so she's gone back to the scrum to reset it.
Ref running a blocking line, as somebody once said.
You're offside, Mum.
Yeah. It's when you need TMOs. Now you look at these 2 packs, Tim, and you would think that there was an obvious advantage for the senior service, but of course it's about a lot more than just weight, isn't it?
Yeah, I think I'd be interested to see what the pack figures are. They clearly do look like they've got some big boys, but as you mentioned earlier on, with Josh McNally and Alex Stanley on the flanks of the RF, both who've also done their turn in the second row, yeah, they've got some big boys too. So it's poised.
Yeah, almost playing 4 second rows across the row.
Yeah.
in the RAF scrum.
And we know Ed Pascoe can cover his hand there too.
Yeah, as he did last year.
In fact, Bubba Watson has played Army Navy as a second row too.
Didn't he start there? Do I remember?
Yeah, that's right. He might have.
I think he started as a second row before moving
have had
up.
to go forward after a while. But yeah, so there's a lot of second row experience in there. You're right. It's 2 big pack weights today.
Yeah, Bubba was 6'4", 135 kilos, and that's some serious impact, whether it's in the front row or the second row.
Does look like the. I was going to say they're just chasing the feed there. I was going to say they look like the RF Might be struggling a bit of Navy dominance there straight away, but
Boxall takes quickly.
he's gone. I thought
And it goes to Jacob Seddon.
I thought referee O'Donnell was going to pull them back then, but everyone kind of stopped. But
she pulled them back once and then let them go the second time.
Good awareness from the 9.
Roberts. Boxall. Little dab through from the RAF captain, and it's the Navy halfbacks who pick up the pieces but stuck inside their own 22.
Yeah, good change of option there from Mark Williams. Just saw some space in behind, mix it up a bit, keep the Navy defence guessing, but Will Ruggersford got back and covered well, like a good 9 on the sweep. Supported by Jake Hanley, tied up, and now look to perhaps exit now.
Job done very well by the dark blue number 9.
Up to the 10-yard line. The RAF launch again from the set piece. So kind of second win time now, 15 minutes in. Both teams settle down, they're into the game.
Is that when you see the adrenaline surge just quell a little bit?
I think
and
so, yeah.
Everybody moves into what they've been training for.
Yeah, a little less frantic and yeah, a bit of calmness perhaps into proceedings.
Well, it's a line out that didn't work for the RAF, and the Navy looking to launch from their own half. Jamin Hoffman out to Duncan. Duncan has been playing on the wing for his civvy side, Plymouth Albion, this season. The breakdown not being organised by the senior service, and the RAF will get a chance to boot the ball back into opposition territory.
Yeah, the supporting player from the Navy came off feet there. Good break by Jamin Hoffman. He's very low slung, got good step, good fend, and he got around the outside of his man and put Craig Duncan down the right wing. But penalty turnover now, sadly.
Came up through the Munster Academy, playing with the famous Gary Owen club over there in Ireland. And got his first cap against Marine Nationale in the Navy's last outing. Hayton sets the target. Boxall and Williams put it into midfield. Morris head down and drive. There's the other flanker, Alex Stanley, former captain, of course, vice captain now. McNally finding no way through there.
No
Advantage call for the RAF, and Boxall.
Yeah, Bubba Watson just got stuck on the wrong side there. Hell of a speed bump, but giving the penalty away. Nice play from the RAF. Took it back down to the short side. Alex Stanley, a little probe, came back again. But, the Navy trying to slow the RAF ball down, stop them playing with the tempo they're perhaps chasing, but giving another penalty away there. Be careful about that, I think.
Yeah, the tempo of the RAF is all dictated by Boxall and Williams. Boxall, of course, has played at quite a high level with Rotherham Titans and now with the Rams in National 1. Here he is.
Yeah, lovely pass there. He's good service, isn't he?
Yeah, it's a smooth service, isn't it? Oh, Ryan Pugh just losing sight of that ball as he looked at what was in front of him. Chambers, Duncan. Awkward kick for Seddon to have to track back. Does very, very well. Slaloms his way past 2 defenders.
And runs into Taylor and Tukes.
Yeah, not the reception party you particularly
He's done well.
want
He's
to
kept
meet,
the ball
is
in
it?
there. He's done really well. But yeah, good little kick down the short side there by Craig Duncan.
Oh, that's gone high there.
Yeah, you can see the RAF chasing. They're trying to chase the tempo, aren't they? They want to play quick, and the Navy just managed to snuff them out, whether it's with a drop ball or the odd infringement in the rucks.
Yeah, Williams on Williams, just having the finger pointed at by referee O'Donnell, and allows Mark. Well, he finds touch, but doesn't
they're not
get
twins,
much
are they,
distance.
Simon?
They don't look it. I'm not mistaking one for t'other.
Reminds me of a film I once saw.
Yeah, Danny DeVito. And Arnold Schwarzenegger, but neither of them look like Arnold Schwarzenegger,
Well,
thankfully.
Yeah, you say that.
Josh Williams calling lineouts this afternoon for the Royal Navy. Came up, of course, through the England age group, so a quality performer. Pugh tries to feed out to Seddon, but just the alignment, just not quite in position there.
It was on again, wasn't it?
Yep.
It was on again. Just pulled this pass behind Jacob Seddon. Got a little bit too flat on Ryan Pugh, but they've got to try and keep positive now. There's a couple of errors when they've gone wide the last two phases there. But it's attacking in the right areas. They just a couple of little skill errors there prevented that progressing any further. But they're giving the Navy the runaround. They just need to try and be a bit more accurate, I think, now.
The width is certainly there. Tom Gardner was asking for. Of course, Gardner, former attack coach back in 2018 with the successful RAF side. And much as he'll be frustrated by those unforced errors in the large part, he will see the ambition there within his team and knows it's just a matter of half a step back.
Absolutely. A bit more composure, really chase that accuracy.
Wigglesford just scanning whether Seddon had moved up. Duncan has moved up into midfield. The big Welshman batting off any RAF tacklers or proposed tacklers and getting the call.
Kieran Jenkins getting a stinger, I think, on his shoulder through there. I was just about to say, you know, chasing that accuracy is key, but equally not losing your concentration and giving another infringement away, and that's exactly what's happened. Double error, effectively. Lost the ball, then a penalty. Likely to be a 3 more points from Jake Hanley's right boot. That's the coach killer bit. As
a coach, you don't mind so much making the mistake, but it's backing it up with another mistake that's always the issue.
Exactly that. It's not deliberate, clearly, but that loss of concentration, that real clarity on the decision-making process there. As we said, knock on the left-hand side there, but that pulled pass, a knock on the right-hand side earlier, and the kick through from Craig Duncan, attacking threats. The strip earlier on, which saw Ben Chambers run it in. All unforced errors, which will be frustrating, and it's likely to make it now 13-0. Pulled it left, yeah. Nice strike.
Sometimes the hardest kicks from right in front.
Yeah.
So the RF can breathe again, but they're still looking at that 10-0 scoreboard thinking, how have we not got on the board?
Yeah, Kieran Jenkins seems still struggling over the shoulder, I think. 22-year-old, his first start. Let's hope he can carry on. Just a stinger, I think.
Trying to shake it off as he jogs back into line. Williams kicks long. Hanley keeps it in. Out to Lakala Tukali. The release. And suddenly the Navy have slipped through the gears very quickly. Up on halfway. Wigglesford just losing communication there with the teammates ready to hit. Getting the penalty call again. The RAF being pinged at the breakdown.
Another good step off Hoffman's left foot. Saw him just get through the gap. The following thrust was high, and Hanley gets another shot.
Similar sort of distance, or maybe a little bit further, of course, on the angle, but most right-footed or left-footed kickers prefer to get the angle rather than right in front.
And I think, as you said earlier on, Simon, watching the fellas warm up earlier on, it seemed to be going further this way. So, again, might help ease some of the frustrations with the RF. They know they've got that win behind them in the second half. Excellent strike.
Really good kick. Hanley learning the lessons of 2 minutes ago and pushing the senior service that little bit further away with the wind behind them. As Tim mentioned, they've got to make sure they get points on the board, and they're doing that job pretty much now.
That had yards left in it, didn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, that was stopping just outside the shopping centre in the middle of Northampton there. Such was the impact off the tee. of Jake Hanley. He was on that promotion course, I seem to remember, ahead of last year's fixture, so late to the cause. Right, well, I'm glad to hear that we've had some chats going on downstairs pitch side, and I think Kath has got somebody now. Kath, where are you?
And I'm here with Navy head coach Dave Pascoe. Dave, really good start from your guys.
Yeah, thanks, Kath. Yeah, just trying to get some ascendancy into the game. You know, it can swing pretty quickly. The only thing that's keeping us out of it a little bit at the minute is a little bit of discipline. But yeah, really pleased with the start.
I mean, I think the RAF were a bit of an unknown quantity this year. They've got the ball at the moment. We're just going to see if this ends. But just as I'm talking to Paco, and do you think that might have been discipline?
No, I missed it because we were chatting, but I'll go back and look at that in a minute. But that's how quickly that sometimes in this inter-service rugby, how it changes around. Momentum can shift quite quick, so we need to shut that out pretty early.
And what will the guys be saying to each other now that the RAF have got a score on the ball?
I think now we've had most of the sort of momentum, not necessarily all the possession. They'll just be saying now under there that we need to just get back in control, get hold of the ball and sort of insert ourselves on the game.
Okay. Thank you, Paco. Back to Simon Ward.
Maybe not such a good time to be talking to Dave Pascoe as the halfbacks of the RAF work things out. A great foray down the blind side from Mark Williams, and then Sam Boxall showing he had the power and the pace to get the RAF on the board, and at last 27 minutes gone, they break the bagel.
Yeah, really good opportunity to try, wasn't it? Excellent from the skipper, and then to hand over to Sam Boxall. He finished nicely there in the 22. Good fen, good speed, and I'd say probably that's just about fair game. I think 13-7 at this stage.
Certainly on the stats, they deserve something on the board because they have had so much possession, most of it in good territory as well.
Yeah, I'll be interested to hear what Dave was saying to Kath as that was happening. I'm sure there'll be one to watch back later on.
Well, that will do the towards the half-hour mark. A big 10 minutes coming up towards half-time, you would think.
Still keeping that in 10, that's great to see.
Seddon just running out of room, but again, you can see the positivity from the RAF to keep trying to find that width.
The intent's there, though. Henry Glidden slid across nicely to put his man in touch on the 22, and I'm sure the Navy will now relish the opportunity to launch from here.
Glidden, another one who was away last year. Really good basics from Henry Glidden. Alumni of Taunton School, of course, who've produced so many quality rugby players or sportsmen through their long career.
He's had a good season at Devonport as well this year. Good to see him back in the shirt. Funny line out there. I think a mistimed leap or throw.
Wasn't quite the same,
sorry,
was
the
it?
lift wasn't quite there. They managed to retain possession.
Toots recovers things. There's Makepeace. McNally takes his target down, but the ball is still there. Hanley. Duncan steps in, spins out of one. Great work from the Welsh fullback. That's the RAF 22 there. Matavesi keeping things moving. Tam Lindsay sets it back. Next up is Jared Hayler. Just looking to put a few dents into that blue and crimson wall.
Yeah, a bit of a show and go there from Rigglesfoot, and unfortunately just ran into his own man in front of him. Accidental obstruction. The scrum goes to the RAF. A little bit of composure perhaps there from the Navy. Got some possession. Worked it to the other 5-metre channel. Came back inside again, and the RAF defence stood firm there.
Half an hour gone, Tim. What have you seen?
As we talked about earlier on, I think, to be honest, both packs thrashing each other, trying to generate a little bit of dominance. I think both set pieces have been pretty good, and and whilst the RAF had the possession in the right part of the pitch, the Navy defence held firm and managed to take some opportunities. I think they had 2 penalties, 1 missed as well. That shows some of the pressure they're exerting in the RAF half. But that last try just eking out a little bit. The RAF, I think, probably be a little bit frustrated, but the intent is good. Just a bit of tidying up on the execution.
We've talked about the win factor and being behind the Navy backs. Do you think it's going to be a big player into the second half?
Yeah, time will tell. You'd like to think so. I mean, I guess the other classic cliche when you get into the second half is they're looking at the strength of the squads. We know there's a lot of power coming off the RAF, sorry, the Royal Navy bench, certainly in that front row department, and then some of the pace out wide as well. So it'll be interesting to see how the RAF cope with that. They've got their own threats, and I dare say, Challoner, Taylor, and Chrissy Williams will look to try and exert their own pressure against that change. But I think this one's going to go all the way, as it always does, these two teams.
Toots puts his head down and drives hard and fast, but the RAF defensive line staying firm. Similarly, Craig Duncan can't find a way through on the right-hand side. Alex Stanley desperately trying to slow things down. Wrigglesford puts it out to make peace, and Matavesi keeps the ball alive. Haven't seen an awful lot of Sam Matavesi. Seems to have been quite often the dummy runner in a lot of situations to get the offload going.
He links very well, and they use him as that little deception, doesn't he? Biding his time, I'm sure, Sam. Jared as ever carries a lot and well, but he's been well marshalled.
Good work from the RAF.
Yeah, good tackle for Jenkins there on his opposite man in the centre.
Hoffman's building up a pace, you get the feeling, isn't he? Just getting more confidence in his attacking game, certainly.
Yeah, he's lively. As I said, he's got good feet. He's got a boxing pedigree. You mentioned his Irish background, Irish and South African. He moves very, very well. So he'll pose a threat and keep on going all day.
Of course, quite a different midfield with Jesse Lowe now having left the services. Seti Ramakita has unfortunately broken his shoulder, so he's out for the foreseeable. Christian Dobson, another one in that Navy back line who was so potent.
Had a really good game last year, except Dobbo has left the service. And likewise, actually, the RAF, I think, Ryan Crowley's out injured. Toby Evans has left. Will Lamont, I think, is on a long course.
He's on an ATI course. Jordan Oatley,
he's gone to Australia, I think, isn't he?
He's on a career break.
Yeah.
And, of course, he was player of the match in this game down at Brickfield. So
lots of changes in both backlines.
Just over 6 minutes left of this first half. An 8-point differential for the Navy to defend, and maybe in their eyes just to increase. As I said, with that turnaround at half-time with the breeze, you've got to be aware of what that could mean to the game plan. Boxall gets the call from Seddon. Seddon, another one who's back on the pitch now, having had various injuries over the last couple of years. First season with the seniors, Jacob Seddon. It's not the first season for that man Manning. Good pick up from Williams, gets the call from Morby. Tight defence from Chambers, but the ball's still there for the RAF. Show and go from Roberts. Try scorer, of course, in Plymouth last year. Well, that pass from Boxall not helping his teammates, and the rebound working for the Navy. Matavesi moves it out. Bakala to Kali, gets the offload to Pascoe. Pascoe tries to get the leg drive going. Well, McNally just anticipating a little early. Jack Hanley puts boot to ball, and it hits the turf. Seddon has to go back, and there's a reception committee waiting for him as he turns, but he does well to escape. Two tacklers and out over the 22. Stanley up in support. Slow clearance. Blue line back in position. Williams is forced to kick the ball, and it ricochets off the opposition captain. And everybody can just grab a breather for a minute.
Yes,
Some tired bodies already.
People down all over the pitch.
I mean, you can do as much work in the gym as you want, but it's different. Match day fitness is always a different thing, right?
Some lung burners there for some of these forwards who've been defending and then chasing kicks through after that. So yeah, Seddon did really well carrying out. It reminded me of Will Muir from Bath, the big horse coming out of
the horse, evading
Duncan, I think, and Chambers, and managed to offload. Great penetration from Alex Stanley. Unfortunately, the ball slowed down there, but yeah, you can see the Navy really defending well, but they were quite narrow, and the RAF just struggled to get that ball out into the 15 channels there, and that accuracy again crept in. The ball went to ground, and the Navy got the turnover.
Just while we stop here, just reflect on the sad passing of Steve Worrell, MBE, who of course played here for Northampton 49 times and 35 years in the RAF. Coached, in fact, coached Dave Pascoe back in his playing career, and sadly passed away at the beginning of this year. So a moment to say, Steve Worrell, rest in peace, sir.
Yeah, he was a fantastic servant to Services Rugby, and a fantastic turnout at his funeral last month. I'm sure provided him a well-deserved send-off. Fantastic guy.
A very popular character around rugby and the services. Very well-known coach, of course, latterly, but now sadly not with us. Glad that you're with us. Great to have your company this afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Whether you're watching on Forces News YouTube or on BFBS TV, make sure you get your comments and thoughts into our social media team, and if they're printable or readable, we'll do our best to answer them, and if they're heading for Tim or for me, we will get the conversation going. Craig, have you got some messages already through?
Yeah, we've got a great load of messages coming through. One of them from Ella on YouTube says, yes, Gotti and Chambo for their tries earlier on. And then we got happy birthday, Gotti, from Ella as well. So it's Jordan Gott's birthday today as well. So happy birthday, Jordan. Didn't know that. Some great quality work from Duncan too by Patrick Speedmore. And yeah, keep the comments coming on BSBS Forces News YouTube and on Facebook, and let us know where you're watching from and who you're supporting.
Thank you, Craig. Yes, it's Jordan Gott's 30th birthday today. He was 29 the day before last year's fixture. And now the big 3-0 for Mr. Gott. Looking to get the ultimate present, no doubt, at the end of this one.
He doesn't look a day over 32, does he?
Not really. I don't know whether he's got new tats to celebrate the big 3-0. I shall ask him afterwards.
New pink boots.
As you mentioned, a Belgian international now of some experience. 11 caps now already on his rugby CV, no doubt more to come. Hayler just trying to keep it fit. Boxall getting on top of Rigglesford, but the referee not happy with that. That was just a timing thing, very close.
Yeah, offside, I think. He came around too far, trying to disrupt Will Rigglesford in a good scrum platform there as they tried to launch.
Oh, there's some chat back from somebody. Was it from Matavesi?
I don't know.
She's pointing the finger, and that's a turnaround penalty, and a big turnaround penalty with just over 2 minutes left on the clock. That could have been a potential point scorer for the Royal Navy that they're now not going to have. Or was it?
Was it to Rigglesford?
It might have been Rigglesford. Sorry, Sam, if that wasn't you, but referee O'Donnell not happy with the chat back and immediately sanctioning the senior service. Kieran Jenkins seems to be back and up and running, thankfully.
Yeah, good D from Gott there. As Jenkins hit a hard line through the midfield off the decent line-out.
Prescott again coming round, but it's been nabbed.
Big Bubba's on the carry.
Pascoe.
Navy trying to get through the motions now into the phase play, aren't they?
Well, there's big phase plays ahead, isn't there? Because they've only got, less than 90 seconds. And they've got to try and maximise now. That
Unlucky.
kick's just going to fall the wrong side of the line. It'll be a goal line restart.
Nice idea, good skills from Jake Hanley there. Just bounced a foot the wrong way of the corner flag as it got to the try line.
I mean, much as we mention the advantage to kickers of wind, it's not always disadvantage to the way your team plays, is it? Because sometimes it can force you to play ball in hand.
Yeah, galvanises a bit of a tighter play, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, I just see the Navy just trying to go to the gears there on their phase shape going forward. Under a bit of pressure now. The RAF probably want to get through this last minute or so without conceding.
Hayler escapes the flapping arm, I think. Was that Dave Manning that just drifted past him? Matavesi again with that little offload. Again, Vakala Tukali. Big moment here for the Navy. Pascoe steps one, brought down by Dan Gilbert. Duncan looking to cut the line against the weaker defending arm. Good defence from Stanley. Matavesi. Wrigglesford trying to keep things moving. Vakala Tukali can't keep the ball, and they will go back for an earlier call. It's a penalty call against the RAF for not rolling away.
Yeah, great thrust from Vakala Tukali coming in off Sam Matavesi's inside ball. Just trying to step up the intensity coming through the phases from the Navy. Aggressive clearing out. Good presentation for Wrigglesford. They've gone back for the penalty.
It certainly has been a tactic to use Matavesi, not as a rebound wall exactly, but to use him as a distributor.
Yeah, his link play's excellent. He's got fantastic hands. He's got great awareness, and clearly he can carry too. So, you know, several threats in the one ball carrier there, which means that he's going to interest several defenders and find some space for other people.
Needs to get his heels back a bit. That bugs me with hookers.
It's quite a recent thing, isn't it?
How near do you want to be?
He's got to cross the whitewash, I think.
Great take from Williams, but the ball isn't there. Wrigglesford has to pick up the scraps. Still there for the senior service as we gone well past the 40 minutes. Matavesi revs the engine. The Navy keeping it fairly narrow. Everybody bar Seddon and maybe Duncan within 15-20 metres either side of that breakdown.
Yeah, just looking to squeeze now the Navy, just to try and get something out of this last passage of play.
Hanley.
RAF holding on desperately to avoid giving those extra points away and to reset at half-time.
Duncan again trying to find that acute angle to come back in, but that good defence so far from the RAF. Matavesi goes to ground. Quicker ball this time. Hayler again pushing back against the flow of the attack. Oh, got through. Brought down 6 metres short. Big opportunity, but the ball's gone loose. And it's an opportunity missed for the Royal Navy, and the RAF can secure and surely just boot this ball out and have a breather. Yeah, that's what Sam Boxall does. Well, a fascinating first half which ebbed and flowed in many ways, Tim. You look at a 13-5 scoreline. Who is going to be the happier?
It feels about right in terms of score, I think. Both coaches will know what they were trying to get out of that first half. I think, as we mentioned, some of the inaccuracies, certainly for the first quarter, from the RAF's perspective, would have frustrated Tom Gardner and his team. And contrastly, letting in that try from Mark Williams' break down the left into Sam Boxall will probably irritate Dave Pascoe. So, you know, for a first run out, having not really played for a couple of weeks, they'll be so-so, but they'll probably want to add a bit more composure, more accuracy now, and to just get through their phases. It's been a little bit more steady the last 10 minutes, I think, for a fairly frantic half hour, as we anticipated.
Now,
so,
yeah, well, it's certainly going to be a fascinating next 40 to see who's going to be able to build on what they've done in that first half, and that's the coach's job.
Well, as we mentioned a couple of times, well, that wind, you were trying to take my pocket money off me earlier for a tip, and I'm still not going to part with what little I've got left. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. Can the RAF get a better field position? Can they keep playing with the same intensity and the same ferocity? We'll see.
Thanks, Ebenezer. Well, we'll see what comes up in the second half. Now, those of you that were old enough will remember 10 years ago, in 2015, the RAF Rugby Union men's team won the Inter-Services Championships for the first time in 21 years. Having drawn 32-32 with the Royal Navy at RAF Halton before beating the Army 29-33 in Aldershot, which meant that the Army needed to beat the Navy by at least 4 points at Twickenham in order for the Light Blues to lift the trophy. Hear now from our 4 RAF players, including rugby professional Josh McNally, who was part of that team, of course, and listen to their stories about what made that group of players and their dedication to each other so special, and ultimately how that led to inter-service glory.
2015, I think, is the biggest moment. Even though we won it outright in 2018, like that 2015 is still the moment for me where RAF changed the narrative, I think.
It just makes you substantive, doesn't it?
Was 2015 the moment that proved to everyone that it's a 3-team tournament?
Yeah.
My memory is like the boys going to get the trophy at Twickenham and pretty much everyone there not having a clue what was going on.
Does it prove everyone it's a 3-team tournament? Yeah, because there was people on the train going, because we were in full kit, everybody was going, what the F are the RAF doing, And we're like, well, actually watch us at the end, we're going to lift the tournament trophy. And they were like, what, really? The RAF is in the tournament? And we're like, yeah.
I remember chatting to people, and you go like, oh yeah, I'm playing rugby for the Air Force this weekend. And they go, so if you're good enough for the Air Force, does that mean you get to play in the Army Navy game? And you'd just be like,
I think that's still there now, even with the success we had in 15 and 18. I think to the general public, if you're not aware of the tournament, that's still the kind of perception of it now, just because of that Twickenham game. Since the RAF hasn't played at Twickenham on the main stage, I think it's almost just everyone's eyes are on that, unfortunately, for our service, and that's where we, again, in these 2 years, were able to prove the point that it is a 3-service tournament.
My first year was 2011, and I think then the Army and Navy saw the RAF game as like a warm-up, like get the cobwebs out or ready for the Army Navy, and I think the whole game had that feel around it. It was obviously a big day for the RAF because it was our in-service games, but in terms of it wasn't a tournament like at the end of the day. And then I think as we progressively got closer and closer, like I think 15 was the landmark of right, this is a in-service round robin now.
I don't think it was obviously we know as well that was the kind of highlighted that moment. However, we knew, like we say, majority of us had started back in 2010 or 2011. We knew it was coming, I think, within that group, but it was that couple of years plan of developing into that team, and this was the end of that. Probably sounds a bit cheesy, but that 5-year journey, we knew we were getting towards this point, and this just, to us, was that moment.
I think the tournament organisers help as well, because remember when we first started, you'd have a week off work, play against the Army, get all the way to that emotional high, put your body on the line, get steaming, and then 7 days later, you're doing exactly the same against the Navy, whereas the Army and Navy have got like just us to prep for, and then they got another 3 or 4 week gap until the actual Army Navy at Twickenham. And it was like, well, we've gone to that emotional high twice in 7 days and drunk 25 pints in 7 days. So I think obviously there's a bit of the tournament structure has helped us now to be on an even keel, just giving us that prep time. Yeah. So yeah, I think that changed a lot.
What was it like to spoil the Twickenham party? Fantastic. Was what it was like. Army had to win by 4 points, and by half time they were hosing the Navy, and it was men. We had a box. There's about 20 of us in there, weren't there? Like,
we didn't have a box. We broke our way into a box.
Is that what happened? Because I met you in the box.
Yeah, we weren't allowed.
There's like wives and partners and stuff, and it was just loose. It was really, really good. And sort of like 20 minutes to go, we put on, because we were all wearing shirt and tie. We all looked quite smart, I thought. And then someone was like, no, we need to have the sponsor, which was Airbus at the time. We need to have the sponsor like all over. So we had chinos and shoes on and skin tight rugby shirts.
After 10 pints.
After 10 pints. We're at the peak of Air Force professionalism, just like derbies everywhere. And So kind of like, I remember we're in the tunnel, we're ready to go out, and like the army were going up to get their trophy they get, and the navy are looking miserable. But it was just great. It was like a really, really great sunny day. Just to kind of waddle my way up there and get that trophy was just superb. And I remember having to give a couple of interviews afterwards to like BFBS. I think there's 2 or 3 I had to do, and I remember like afterwards going, I'm like 6 points in here.
And it was good at like the Army Navy were down the bottom, like they all stuck around and give us the praise we deserved on that day, because
they didn't have to do it, did they?
Well, and it's probably never happened to them. Not one of those boys playing in their service rugby careers would have seen 1993, would they?
Yeah.
None of them would have seen the RAF win, so I think he was quite respectful of them to like stick around even after the Army won their trophy to like clap us on. But like I found it weird, and then we went outside, we like got the trophy, and there was no after plans. It was like, we've got a bus picking us up at like 8 o'clock, and it's 4.
It was was good. It was footage on Sky Sports at the time, and it kind of, the game finishes and they flashed up the league table, and it has the RAF kind of sitting at the top, and again that was the highlight. And then you see the boys walking up the steps lifting the trophy. I think the big screens had RAF champions of the inter-service and stuff, and you're like, that's what we needed for RAF rugby. Like we all knew it was coming, or we're aiming for it to kind of happen, but that was putting us on the map for what was to come after the next few years where we were competitive.
Like I think people, it's also an underdog story, isn't it? People are happy that the RAF have finally turned up, finally managed to get their hands on it.
I just remember trying to catch everyone up because I played a game that day, so I wasn't there, so tried to get there for the evening, and there was just bodies everywhere. It's funny how like all these things just got like shoehorned into everything, and like at some point someone went, oh, like let's just put rugby shirts on, like that's the best idea. Like
just prove we didn't actually know what we were doing. We hadn't had that success, and we didn't know what, like you say, when you come out there's nothing else, because we didn't know what are we meant to do, what are we meant to do when we've won it. But that adds to the comedy of it.
Dine out today for 10 years.
That's why we're here.
That's why we're here. Go on, Dave. You're up.
Oh, probably quite an apt question actually. Who celebrated the most / best when he picked up the trophy at Twickenham?
Taff Thomas was blazing.
Yeah, I remember Taff Thomas, the stories of Taff Thomas.
Because he was filming in the box when we picked up the trophy, and he was just hopping around all over the place, but he was absolutely blazing.
Toby man, always.
Toby's always up there.
Tug even let his ear down. I think the Tibbets are
Tibbsies in terms of volume, I think they...
I think they done 12 cans.
Yeah, consumption,
that's right.
That was...
It was a bit...
They were strong.
Yeah.
When it came to that 2015 game, I think a few of us, like I knew that it was going to be my last inter-service, a few other boys knew they were going to leave, and to like sort of win at that point, and to go to Twickenham and get the trophy like that, that's why people just, the wheels fell off, didn't they? Because it is just a decompression
That's
thing.
the biggest thing when people talk about what made that 2015 team different and why you got the success. Obviously, but I think I put it down to that. The closeness of the squad and the culture that we had amongst the boys. I think they'd literally die for each other, that group we had. I think that's...
We got tighter because of the outside influences weren't the best on occasion.
It was outside as well.
And I think we were literally like, this is us boys and we're going to do something special, because like, nobody ever told us the RAF haven't won it for 22 years. Nobody ever said that. It was like, we need to go and win it. It wasn't like, we haven't won it since. It was the aim was, let's go win it. And it wasn't like, oh, let's change the history. It was like, let's win it for ourselves and win it for us. Have you ever thanked the Army for winning that day in 2015?
I think I did, you know.
That's a weird one. Have you ever thanked the Army for winning that day in 2015?
I think we did. I think we spoke to them afterwards because they were milling around, and well, I'm fairly certain I was like, cheers lads, but it might have been Big Tim's half cut, giving everyone headlocks.
I don't think they were in a good place.
If you thank the Army, that's putting it as in you're doing a disservice to what we did.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think, like, at the end of the day, it's a tournament. They beat the Navy on the day. That's part of the tournament, and I don't know.
I think it was out of the blue for both teams, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think they were more shocked that it actually happened than... We don't have to thank them for nothing.
Exactly.
Like, I don't remember much about... I can't really think too much about the Twickenham, but the 2 games that I can remember most is probably how both teams reacted like after us winning or not losing.
So what level of teamwork and camaraderie in the RAF rugby squad contributed to the success on the pitch? I think, go on, you go.
So I've always believed, so the Army and the Navy had like the incentive. So it was always like the incentive was Army Navy. So the reason they turned up beginning of January to train hard, try and get the team, the competition was high for the team was because of Army Navy. Like the carrot at the end was always play Army Navy, and I think for us we never really had that carrot. We had play at Halton or play at either Portsmouth or Aldershot.
Yeah.
So like our carrot became like each other, and I think everyone sort of turned up because of each other. And I think like I've talked to you boys about this before, but like the group that we've got now in like this 24-25 season, like the last 2 seasons, is like that group has the resemblance of that. Like they're turning up for each other. Like there isn't a big carrot. I know playing at Franklin's Gardens and Kingsholm is a big carrot, but like having that group coming in every week, we turned up, we trained hard. It got to a stage where like we were all playing like civvy rugby together because of it, and it just became a rite of passage. There wasn't, I don't think I can make that fixture, or I can't make that camp. Like everyone was available, pretty much every fixture, leading into that, and like boys. Like, well, we still socialise now. Like everyone is still mates now, really, from that group.
Yeah.
The Navy go again here, and surely they've got the numbers up. Beautiful try. Wonderful score there, the Army.
Try number 4 is over the line for the senior service.
20 seconds to go here at Twickenham.
The Army are the victors. Incredible 80 minutes of inter-services action.
They've certainly been through an absolute battle, haven't they?
So yes, a fortnight to go until the Twickenham encounter. I've got the Army head coach Tim Osman sat next to me. Is 2 weeks enough for you to get ready for that one? I bet you can't. You could have played today, couldn't you?
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. We're looking forward to it. As I said at the top, you know, this game getting underway as it has done the last couple of seasons. First up, whets the appetite, and I'm sure there's a lot of Army boys watching this live stream. Good afternoon, fellas. I hope you're doing some work. And we're getting ready to go to Cyprus on the weekend. On Monday.
Hard life, isn't it?
On Monday to go and do some warm weather training, and get ready.
And hoping then that the sun will be shining at Twickenham, having had Cyprus to acclimatise to.
Well, it would be nice.
I'm sure Scotty will have you in a good place. Now, who's in a good place in this? Because much as the Navy had the advantage on the scoreboard, the RAF are now playing with the wind behind their backs. Does that change their game to allow more kicking? You were saying during half-time we didn't see much off the boot from the RAF at all. We did see a fair bit from the other side. Does that change things?
Well, we saw their attacking intent. It's great to see the RAF trying to throw it around a bit. Will they take advantage of a bit more possession downfield and try and squeeze the Navy with a press defence? I don't know. And equally, will the Navy keep it a little bit tighter playing into it? All to play for.
Jacob Seddon certainly isn't thinking about kicking it. He's driven his way out from the 22. There's Josh McNally.
They're going wide again.
Good pressure on the ball though. Morby can't take it cleanly. Chambers can. Oh, the offload there for Matavesi, just not high enough, and the knock-on that follows, big opportunity for a very early score for the senior service.
I want to say risk-reward. I think, you know, coming out.
Yep.
Decent ball off the restart. Good carry by Seddon again, as you said, Simon. But yeah, the ball goes loose out the back, and Ben Chambers, the arch poacher, couldn't quite get to the line. But and then Sam, I think, knocked it on just as they came to that pickup. So the RF got away with it. The scrum there, 5 yards from the line, and well, they've been pretty clear how they want to play. So.
Well, Tom Gardner said during the week, express yourselves within the framework and structure the team has built. I want each player to test their ceiling, push boundaries, take risks, and never be afraid to try. This is a group full of potential, and now it's time to come to fruition. They've certainly backed up their new head coach.
Yeah, and that's what players want, a bit of license to play. I'm sure he'll back them up. Let's see if they can try again.
Jenkins does some of the hard yards to get away from the try line. Alex Stanley. Now at Esher, of course, where DOR, I seem to remember, is Peter Winterbottom. Back in the day,
the straw man.
The straw man, the England flanker. John Inverdale's club, of course.
That's right, yeah. I was fortunate of having to do a tackle practice with Mr. Winterbottom when I was about 18 at Harlequins.
Really? And
Yeah.
survived?
Just, I'm here to tell the tale, but not necessarily all in one piece, and that's probably down to him. Yeah, he was an immense player. A line in 83 and 93, I think.
Yep. Be interesting to see who the new Lions are. May the 8th is the D-Day for that particular one. Matavesi with the line out. Williams, the tail gunner, Makepeace the front. It didn't go to plan, but Wrigglesford able to pick up the pieces.
Yeah, second time that's just happened, isn't it? But
That-
they've still got possession.
Is that communication, or is that wind, or is it a number of different factors just
It's hard. It's
making
hard
the perfect storm?
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's hard to tell from this angle. It looked like a timing issue. Nobody actually went up, did they? So I don't know if somebody slipped on the lift or the mechanics hadn't happened by the time the ball came in. What was the decision there? Knock on light blue, I think. Is it?
I
Yeah,
think
Navy scrum. Yeah.
I think it's Navy scrum, isn't it? Matavesi in the middle of it. His team, Lyon, playing against Montpellier at the Matmut Stadium in the top 14. I think it's 7th against 8th, so big points on offer. Matavesi's played 19 of 33 games for his new French club, having been, of course, in the Pink City, in Toulouse for a while as well. Tells me he's enjoying life out there.
And 5 years on this hallowed turf as well, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, this is where he left. Chambers threads it through. Pugh back with plenty of time and gets the call from Prescott. Good tackle coming in from Glidden there. Ball's gone backwards though, says the referee, so the RAF continue with Matt Harris. A cyberspace communications specialist. I can't say it, let alone do it.
I'm not sure there's many front row that can.
Well, maybe it's,
he does.
Maybe it's different. The world it is a-changing. Good box kick from Boxall. And Hanley with plenty of time, but no way to push it inside. He's going to have to take it himself. Toots goes a wandering, looking for the contact.
Short side's on, too late.
Got stepping in at first receiver, good hands from Matavesi. On it moves to Chambers. Chambers revs it up, Wrigglesford cuts back.
Well scored.
That's beautiful scoring from Wrigglesford. Just changing the angle, the step back off his right foot. Just opened up and caught the RAF defence off balance. And that's a big score for the senior service.
Yeah, for a minute there, it was on down this right-hand side. The ball got tucked in a little bit. They got it out to Chambers, stepped in nicely, and a great offload. A bit like the sevens line I mentioned earlier on from Will Wrigglesford. He cut inside there, like all good 9 shoot, trailing inside. Great ball, back off Ben Chambers, and he finished it really well.
And again, the Matavesi hands that just allowed the attack to develop so quickly.
Attracts defenders, doesn't he? That's a really good start. The first 5 minutes there from the Royal Navy. They'll feel a lot happier with that.
Try number 2 for the Royal Navy. This is the 5th kick though for Jake Hanley. Been playing his civvy rugby for Lydney. Down there, is that Forest of Dean, isn't it, I think?
Yeah, Forest of Dean, Wayne Barnes' club, isn't it?
Ah, of course, that's where I knew it from. Hanley. Oh, well, Jake Hanley's getting a bit of a reputation for not kicking the ball against the post. He's done it again now. But his team this time are 18-5 up. Now, it looks like Dan Gilbert is just stepping off in front of us here. I didn't see any problem with any contact there.
Yeah, I think that'd be Zach Taylor into the second row with McNally going up into the...
Yeah, into the row.
Into the row from the back row, yeah, sorry. Zach Taylor to the back row, sorry, yeah.
So the RAF need to find some sort of response to that early score in the second half from their opposition. Again, Prescott eager to do the work, has such a low centre of gravity. When he gets going, it's very difficult. Matavesi is going to be pinged, though, I think, for that interruption.
Yeah, Prescott in space can be dangerous. He's got that rugby league background as well. He likes that that traffic and the contact area, steps well. And Matavesi just been penalised for his hands on the ground before he got onto the turnover.
Came up through the Wigan and Salford academies as a youngster. Converted to the 15-man code, only 2 or 3 years ago, I think.
Yeah, he came through 23s, I think, and played senior rugby the same year.
Jenkins has to cut back into the heavy traffic. Williams into Matavesi. Judo throw from the Fijian hooker. Great offload from Manning.
That was a signature pick and go from Dave, I think.
Advantage call is there for the RAF. Numbers stretched out to this left-hand side. Jenkins to Pugh. Roberts opens the door. Oh, that's good.
Good defence from Glidden.
Good defence from, I think it was Hanley, wasn't it? I think Hanley it was who made sure Jacob Seddon wasn't getting any further, but they go back for that earlier call.
Yeah, pulled out the back there to Ryan Pugh. James Roberts carried, just trying to create that extra man, but well across from Jake Hanley.
But again, the RAF happy to get full width as quickly as possible to see what gaps are available.
Yeah. You know, thrust up from Prescott as we saw, then the pick and go through that ruck from Dave Manning with an excellent offload onto Josh McNally. So this is pressure time now for the RAF. They want to execute. They need to score to get back into this game and get a closer foothold towards the Navy.
Yeah, half an hour to go in this contest. A good time to find some sort of response to that Wrigglesford try. The former Merthyr Tydfil hooker finds his target. Alex Hayton goes high and provides the ball for his number 2. They get some momentum, but Roberts has to drop to the deck, so they're going to have to move this ball out. Jenkins in as the first receiver.
Penalty advantage, free ball, I think, from collapsing that maul.
Boxall, quick offload. Williams moves it down, and it is Roberts. Roberts scored against the Navy last year. He's done it again this year. And the RAF getting that 5-pointer at least that they needed.
Yeah, excellent hands there from Mark Williams as he came around the back of Josh McNally. And James Roberts, close from getting on the far side. Just 2 minutes ago, manages to get in there, scores in the right-hand corner. They needed that.
Yes, that will be the fillip that they need at this point. We're just 10 minutes into the second half.
Tough kick for the skipper now.
I was just thinking that's going to be, much as he's got whatever breeze we have now behind his back, it's going to be an awkward one from that right touch.
And you can see the Navy reinforcements coming in the form of Kai Beasley, Don Cleverley, and that looks like Ben Mallett to me.
It is. Mallett will go into the back row. The others obviously front rowers.
Both props off. Scott Makepeace making way, so that'll be Ed Pascoe up from 6 into the second row.
Williams is happy with that.
Great kick.
And the RAF fans deservedly happy. That is a really good kick from the skipper.
Yeah, that's important for the RAF. Gets them back to within 1 score. Really good strike from Mark.
Yep.
So that's Watson off, Tam Lindsay off, and Scott Makepeace off.
So it'll be akin to last year's pack with Pascoe into the engine room.
Straight out from the kickoff, landed on the line, the double error. Kick scrum on line out, scrum taken by the skipper. Key little minute now on the back of this score from the Royal Air Force.
Just the match barometer has just changed a little bit now, hasn't it? And you just get that feeling it could tip either way.
Yeah, the advantage of the benches will be key.
Yep.
And who can maintain that energy, who can keep their composure, and who ultimately can execute.
And Ben Mallett going into that back row, very much a number 7 in the traditional sense in many ways.
Yeah,
not like his dad, but
yeah, a couple short, but yeah, he'll provide some needed energy, some pace, and no disrespect to Scott Makepeace, but that might just change the game a little bit with the smaller, lighter man on.
Well, the RAF getting the penalty. Let's have a reaction from the camp. I think Kath's over there with coach Tom Gardner. Kath?
Okay, so I'm with head coach of the RAF, Tom Gardner. Great to get that score in early at the second half, Tom, because the score looking a lot more closer than it was, obviously.
Yeah, I think boys were frustrated with themselves at half time. We talked about training ground depth versus game day depth, and the Navy do like to come off the line with some good speed, and we just got caught with a bit of hesitancy with the ball, whereas if we had a bit more depth we can get edges on them. So we just asked to lift the energy, because we don't think we're out of second gear first half, and now hopefully we'll be able to get better than second gear. Oh, here we go. Yeah, that's it. Sorry, apologies.
No, no, I like the way that, and it's unique that you watching from behind the post. Do you feel you get a better view from here, or just need to be away from the manicness of the rest of the group?
To be honest, I don't like people speaking to me sometimes, so...
Oh, sorry about that.
Fairness, no, it's all good, but in all fairness, I think I get a good viewpoint of the pitch, and the boys can see what holes they want to get into then as well, and I can see them as well.
So, what you expect another gear this half? Another gear from the RAF?
Absolutely. Boys are just trying to play a bit looser. It's a high risk, high reward sometimes, isn't it? But we'll see how it goes.
Cool. Thanks very much, Tom. See you later.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Well, interesting here, Tom Gardner say the training ground depth to the match day depth. You can presumably see what he's meaning there, Tim.
Yeah, absolutely. Clearly, with the energy that you're expending in the match, where you might be getting up and down a little bit more, you won't necessarily be back as much, and equally with the defensive line coming off you with that greater intent, time and space gets removed. And we also mentioned the risk-reward thing. It's great to see them throwing it around.
And you can see the pressure, the increased pressure of that dark blue line.
They keep finding little edges, they keep finding little pockets to get through, and it's just the odd pass not going to hand, perhaps, or the odd ball not sticking, and another escape there from the Navy. They'll get the scrum back and be able to start again.
But that is the risk and reward thing, isn't it?
Exactly.
You've got to take that risk and roll the dice in the face of your opposite number and hopefully find an edge.
I guess you're right. And as soon as the clock starts running down, 25 minutes to go now. As that starts getting less and less, the intent and the frantic nature to chase the game a little bit might increase even more so. So plenty of good rugby to watch from now on, I'm sure.
Kieran Jenkins able to return to action. Yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting now with the changes off the bench to see how they affect the way that both teams are going to try and play in these final 25 minutes. So Tim mentioned Josh McNally now moving back up to familiar housing, shall we say, in the scrum. He should have been at the Principality, I think, Judgment Day. Last I saw, Cardiff were leading the Ospreys. But no question of him missing this. The same with Matavesi.
Just teasing through the mechanics now with the change of both Navy props. The RAF yet to declare their hand in any substitutions. In the front row, that is.
As you mentioned, Harry Challoner and Jonathan Taylor, experienced services props, waiting on the bench for the RAF. Interesting to see what Dave Manning. Does Dave Manning make the call?
Yeah.
He is the forwards coach.
Could be telling, yeah.
Slides through one and gets the offload. Good support there from Mallet. First time we've seen Kai Beasley with ball in hand.
Yeah, he's managed to pass that on to Matavesi again.
Hanley into Vakala Takali, the Taunton captain this season. A few captains on board. Ed Pascoe captaining Redruth, and of course Jared Haylor. Why do I keep calling him Haley? Haylor, the captain of the Royal Navy as ever. Crash ball Charlie is Beasley. Doesn't make any headway though, but the ball's still there for the senior service. Hanley. Well, Nicky O'Donnell coming over to this side for a penalty call. I think that was an offside call, yes, that's what she's indicating now.
Yeah, looks like they're going to go for goal.
Looks like Conor Morris is spouting some claret at the moment.
He's caught one on the beak, I think.
Yeah. Playing his rugby at Bury St Edmunds. Was with Jacob Ford, Mike Ford's youngest, is it? I think, yes, it probably is.
That's right, yeah.
After George and Joe. Yeah, looks like that's going to be a blood replacement, which will bring, well, Joe Parkins waiting to come on, but that obviously would be a scrum half swap.
I don't think.
I can't see him playing number 8 somehow.
Joe always back himself. I don't think he'd fancy the back row. He's swapping off with Sam Boxall, I think.
No, he's on for Jenkins.
Kieran Jenkins has come off. Looks like he's struggling a bit with cramp, perhaps. So some changes in the back line. Where's Parkin playing?
He's going into midfield. Okay, Chris Mills is into the Navy back row, replacing Vakala Takali.
A well-earned break. He's been good, Ratu.
Okay, so a slightly different mix puts Parkin into midfield. Still waiting for Morris to have the blood stopped on that nosebleed.
George Cook's on.
George Cook on, presumably as a blood replacement. And Cook can play back row as well, so is that going to be a like-for-like swap? Well, first play will be this penalty off the tee, with the Navy looking to get 2 scores in advance of their opposition once again. Hanley from 40 metres on the angle. That is a very, very good pressure kick from the Royal Navy number 10.
Excellent strike. 40 yards out into the breeze. Important score, that.
Especially having bounced one off the post. Last time he was up, he'll be really pleased to have notched another 3 points to the senior service tally. So changes within both ranks. Let's see now how it plays out. Haylor is caught inside his own 22 but secures the ball for his scrum half. With Hanley back in the pocket. Jordan got the other option, but he decides he doesn't need either of them, and gets a good safe clearance to take play up just short of halfway.
Yeah, good exit from the Navy. Happy to kick the ball out. Good strike from Wrigglesford.
Game management is going to be very important now into the final quarter of this.
Pressure's back onto the RAF, isn't it, and to chase this this 2-score deficit down now.
Roberts, try scorer, hits Stanley, but Stanley cannot hold it, and it's Mallet who picks up the ricochet. But the penalty goes against the Navy. Cool.
Holding on, yeah, well, yeah, holding on. I thought they might have infringed at that line out with taking the arm as Stanley came forward to it, so fair enough, I think. Mark Williams trying to put this in the corner now for the attacking line out.
Mark Williams, the new captain of the RAF this season, an experienced performer. Of course, he is earning his 5th cap, but appreciated for his good soft skills, his calming influence, as Tom Gardner told me.
And 150 games for his
for Wirral. Yeah.
Not straight.
Squint throw, and I think Roberts has strained. Could have a little bit of cramp there. Just stretching out his hammies.
Just throwing calf, I think.
Is that a technical term? Oh, he's able to resort or revert back to scrummaging. Another of the Oxford Harlequins representatives in this group, Zach Taylor, of course, now plays for them as well, former Gloucester under-20.
Jack O'Regan on the bench as well, I think, as a Quinn.
Waiting for his debut. Now, Mark Williams has come across to this near side.
Yeah, just a change in their defensive.
And Parkin is in the channel, but they get the penalty.
Against Beasley for hinging, I think. Yeah.
Now, Matt Williams is going to go for an attacking line out rather than try and take the 3 points off the tee.
Yeah, let's try and see if they can get the line out drill correct this time. Last one was not straight.
Dan Rutter is coming on for Wrigglesford now. But they're not waiting for him. They've taken the line out already.
Quite know how that happened.
Well, it's not part of the line out officially, is he? I don't know.
No, but you're allowed to make a replacement without starting the game again. But yeah, he got away with it. Good footballer, Rutter.
All right, yes. Rutter plays a very French halfback. Plays 9 and 10.
Yeah, can play all over the place.
Cook trying to use his not inconsiderable bulk to get over the line. Are they over now? Just short.
Just regathered it, I think. And again, in comes Morby.
Wrapped up by Navy defenders.
The RAF backs are firing in, aren't they?
Williams
goes wide.
Throws the rainbow pass, and the pot of gold is there for Kieran Prescott.
Prescott is in.
Well, there's a big score.
Fantastic bridge pass over the top from skipper Mark Williams there. Really, really good. Great thrust into the sticks by Seddon, managed to regather. They won that ruck. And again from Sam Morby came flying in, managed to recycle and stretch the Royal Navy. Game back on again.
It's going to go to the wire. You just know it, don't you? The way that these two teams are really playing.
Look at that, 2016, 8-9. 2017, 14-16.
Yep.
2021, was it? 2022, 18-10, very close. 2015, 15 all.
Yeah,
there's previous, isn't there?
There is plenty of previous. As I said, there's been so little between these two sides.
Just see Alex Hayton there struggling. I think he took a knock in that last passage of play. He'll be key, having made a couple of changes already. With Dan Gilbert off, they'll be wanting to keep the big Geordie on the pitch.
Big 2 points on offer for the skipper. Can't find the target, so 4 points between these two. I think Matt Harris has come off from the RAF front row. So Harry Challoner, I'm just looking to see number 17, can't see him.
Yeah, it's Harry.
Oh, it's here, isn't he?
Comes on for his 10th cap.
good take from Seddon. Not allowed to get too far over the 22. Taylor.
Good tackle by Beasley there, trying to make amends from that previous scrum infringement. Won't be happy with that.
Pugh and Roberts combine to try and get Prescott involved again. He has been buzzing around the ball, coming off his wing, looking for work. Impressive play so far from the right winger. Pugh stepping into familiar territory at fly-off, but the call goes against Zach Taylor for getting ahead of the ball and taking Ed Pascoe out. And I must admit, I didn't see the incident live, but the referee right on it, and the penalty given is right in front of the posts.
Yeah, playing out from depth. Hard line came through as the ball came out the back, and as soon as that attacking runner makes contact with the defender, it's often not picked up, but Nicky O'Donnell got it there. And the penalty looks pretty straightforward from here.
Don't they always? Distance will not be a problem for Jake Hanley. And neither is direction. So Hanley goes 5 from 7, and he pushes the Royal Navy back to a 7-point lead, but it is only a 1-score difference still. Just looking to see what other changes we've got, but that seems to be it for now.
You see KTB's warming up, the Wales Sevens flyer for the Navy. He'll be coming on soon by the looks of it. Good kickoff.
Good follow-up as well from Joe Parkin.
It looks like Chris Williams and John Taylor preparing to come on very shortly as well for the RAF in the front row.
The game management now is going to be absolutely vital. Dan Rutter gets a good clearance kick.
Yeah, as you say, that management is key from the Navy sneaking in right at the start of the second half. Every time the RAF have scored, the Navy have come back and got something back just to keep them at arm's reach. Still 1 score though, 7 points difference. Here comes Chrissy Williams and John Taylor, replacing James Roberts and Dave Manning.
Yep, so Mr. Manning makes the call to bring Jonathan Taylor into the mix. And Chris Williams will get immediate interaction with the first line out.
Goes to a skipper. Matavesi's all over that. Couldn't quite get it.
Williams trying to interest some of those Navy breakaways before the ball is moved wider this time. Williams, another Williams. Perm 1 from 3 at the moment. McNally offloads to Cook. Nice little flip pass from Boxall.
Hands on the ground. Oh, got away with it.
Well, appreciation of their captain from the Navy pack, and a certain sense of relief as we move towards the final 10 minutes of this game, just to allow themselves a breather and to get ready for the onslaught, whichever way it's going to work in the final 10.
I think the Navy, knowing their mentality, will be absolutely relishing the defensive set when they give them the opportunity like that, and they did a great job there, taking the shots, trying to slow the ball down, trying to stifle the RAF's attacking threat, and they achieved that well, get a great fillip out of that, and earn themselves a decent line out, 42 metres out to launch from. And the RAF will keep chasing this, I'm sure.
Right, it looks like we're going to have a debutant now, because Jack O'Regan is coming on. There he is, wearing 22. Flying Officer O'Regan from RAF Bryce Norton on, and also coming on Tuipua, wearing 23. So, big moments for those two. What difference can they make to the RAF cause in the final 10 minutes of this contest? Got trying to catch a defender off balance.
Good carry, Bizot. Makes a half break.
Got again, Hanley, allows Hanley just to pull back a bit to make the significant play, if you like.
Yeah, he's sitting on second pass, isn't he? It's interesting to see what Tom Gardner's done here with the RAF. With Jack O'Regan as well. Joe Parkin already on the field, as well as Sam Boxer started. That's technically 3 nines almost on the pitch for the Royal Navy. Sorry, for the Royal Air Force in the back line, which is fine. They just want to play, so let them play. It's great to see.
Hanley, a little flip pass to Beasley, but the pass just inaccurate, and looks like we've got
Kane Borg on for.
Borg is on as well.
I think Ben Chambers has left us.
Yeah, I'm just looking and I can't see when he came off, but as you rightly say, Borg is on the right wing now. And, I think George Edson is the only one we haven't seen off the bench now for either side, isn't it? Certainly the RAF bench is emptied, and I'm pretty. Oh, Rhys Williams we haven't seen. A couple of options therefore for Dave Pascoe in these final 9 minutes. New ingredients in the scrum engagement. Williams and Prescott on the inside. That was high shot from Hanley, and they go quickly. Parkin.
Great break from Parkin.
Prescott comes in as the feed, but Boxall takes superiority to Pua. Sat back down
shot from Haler.
By Haler. Challoner. Boxall and Williams. This is where the composure has got to come in, making the right calls at the right time. McNally. Pugh gets the offload to Taylor. But again, the RAF not able to get up over the halfway line and giving away the penalty.
It's a neck roll from Taylor, I think.
It's the high shot from Jonathan Taylor.
Really good to see Joe Parkin back on the field, looking so fit and well. The Brecon scrum half, he really badly damaged his knee back in the 2023 RDRC bronze medal match. So it's really good to see Joe off and running. Missed all of last year's IS, so great to see him fit and well.
Yeah, there's a few, aren't there, that missed out last year that were familiar names and faces that weren't able to participate. And as you rightly say, Tim, it's good to see them back on the park.
And this looks.
Now this is an interesting call.
Yeah, this is. We saw him take one earlier on from probably 9 metres ahead, but a metre inside his own half here for Jake Hanley will be a hell of a strike, I think, going into this.
And a big breeze. 3 points on offer.
Yeah, key now. You can see the last couple of minutes of play there from the RF, the intent, that really aggressive means to attack to try and get this 7-point gap closed. Trying to force the Navy defence into making a bad read or a bit of pressure, but this will be key now.
Made good contact with it. Doesn't quite find the ability to bisect the post, but territorially, they're back up.
Clearly right on the limit, wasn't it? Just a yard right and a yard short. So this is with a bit of injury time, maybe 9 or 10 to go. That attacking intent which we've seen all game from the Royal Air Force now. Can it squeeze a defensive read error from the Navy, or can they close this game out?
Mallet takes it hard and low into the contact. Cleverly. Hanley out to Duncan. Gets the rebound. Duncan drives into the RAF 22.
They've got a fortunate hand on it, I think, on the way through. Managed to slow it down, the ball, and Craig Duncan really gathered well.
Rutter.
Into pressure, into the 22 now. The Navy looking to squeeze, aren't they?
Big moments as we work into the final 5 minutes of this match. Well, I think Harry Challoner was fairly easy to spot as he came round in anticipation there. And surely this is going to be...
Taking the half-back off the ball and come around the side, I think. Yeah.
Regulation 3 points.
Should be.
So, Jake Hanley with an opportunity a lot closer than the last one. A simple sand wedge from there to push his team into a 10-point lead. Seems an opportune moment, Tim, to ask you who your Vodafone player of the match is going to be.
Yeah, there's been some good performances across the Navy pack, certainly. Ben Chambers took a try really nicely to get us going after 7 or 8 minutes or so. But yeah, it's that man, Hanley, gets man of the match for me today. He's really kicked very well, Jake. He's missed a couple, I know, but it's breezy out here. But the way he's marshalled the Navy attack, stepped up with Jordan Gott moving to 12. It's been a really impressive performance from the 10.
Deserved reward for Jake Hanley. Craig Duncan has just come off, so that allows George Edson to go on for his debut. Played it.
So he slipped into 12, I think.
That's where he played against the British Police, certainly. I'm just going to see who's going to move back to full-back. I'm guessing it might be
KTB.
Jordan Gott. But we'll see. Ryan Pugh, the opposite full-back, trying to keep things moving now. Good tackle from Hoffman. Williams looked like he'd sidled his way through there. Quick take from Boxall. Boxall driving his way up away from his teammates. Does well. Just got isolated and made such good headway, Sam Boxall. Then his teammates couldn't get to him quickly enough.
Yeah, excellent tackle from Jordan Gott. Managed to get in the way. And another penalty turnover enforced from the Royal Navy. They've been very good in the tight areas.
And they won't rush this. That is for sure, with 2.5 minutes left on the clock. Jared Haler just making sure his teammates are absolutely on the same page.
I think better treatment for Ed Pascoe down there, and there's a bit of breath getting regathered as well. It's been thick and fast. You've got to hand it to the RAF's intent, the attacking threat. Another good, quick penalty tap from Sam Boxall was off again there. They really tried to inject pace onto proceedings.
Rhys Williams is going to get a bit of game time. I think it's going to be Haler coming off, so Matavesi will move into the back row, no doubt, as the Royal Navy captain takes his bow. Again, another 100% performance from the captain in the Royal Marines.
He's carried very, very well today, Jared. Always full of running, aggressive and abrasive going forward, and setting the tone in defence for his team. An impressive performance as well from Jared today.
Never less than 100%, is it, from Jared Haler, who always leads his team from the front. So we've got 90 seconds left on the clock. It looks like the Navy have done enough to take this one, you would think now, with a 10-point buffer. But one thing's for sure, the RAF will not stop until that final whistle. Line out doesn't really work to plan, and it's hacked forward, but here comes Seddon.
Henry Glidden, yeah.
Glidden,
yeah.
I beg his pardon.
Seddon coming in for the tackle, isn't he?
Yeah. Time for Dan Rutter to get that huge box kick up. Tioborga tries to get there, Pugh can't take it, and it's Rhys Williams who takes the ricochet. And Rutter, oh, that's good work. Well, I was just going to say, it's good work from Tuapua to block the kick, but I think there was a knock forward there
first knock on
earlier on.
Pew, perhaps, yeah. Good awareness from Dan Rutter there. The double kick, often very effective as defences close up on for the first. Couldn't quite get it through.
Well, of course, the RAF have now got a month before Kingsholm, when the British Army will be there to wait. But of course, the Royal Navy up against the British Army at Twickenham is just a fortnight away. The clock ticking down past 80. Nicky O'Donnell says play, play, play. All right, it's a penalty to the RAF. They're going to get a last chance maybe to find another strike move. Williams pushes them up a little bit further. I guess you can't minimise the learning experience that this has been for the, 4 or 5 debutants the RAF have had, in the way that Tom Gardner wants them to play and what they will have learnt from this 80 minutes.
Absolutely not. It's any time or pitch is vital. And don't forget, whilst there's just a game today, these guys have worked long and hard for many months to get that cap or their opportunity to represent today. It's really important. But yeah, these learning opportunities will keep coming, I'm sure. And whilst they might have just been turned over there by the 10 points.
First game in this year's Inter-Services Rugby Championship is over, and it is the senior service who prevail. It's been a fascinating encounter with so many different tactical variations from both sides. This new look RAF team certainly threw everything they had into this contest, but ultimately, just even though they scored 3 tries, unable to get themselves ahead on the scoreboard at any point in this game. And 17 points from the boot of Jake Hanley made all the difference and will allow the Royal Navy to head towards Twickenham in good, buoyant mood in a fortnight's time. Your overall take on that, Tim Osman?
A classic RAF Royal Navy ding-dong, wasn't it? It could have gone either way for so much of that. I think it's great to see the freshness that Tom Gardner's brought to his RAF team. I'm sure he'll be pretty reflective on that, and whilst he'll be a little bit irritated perhaps that woulda, coulda, shoulda type game that may have just got out the way there. Yeah, he's been very open in saying how he wants his boys to play, and they certainly gave that everything with a really good attacking threat from all the way across the field. The Navy, I'm sure, will be relatively happy at managing that game. The defence looked pretty good for the most part. The set piece was pretty strong, as we'd expect from the Royal Navy pack. And Dave will have plenty to go away with and look on and improve and refine and prepare for Twickenham come the 3rd of May.
Well, we'll have the presentation shortly. Of course, the teams competing for the Wavell Wakefield Cup. William Wavell Wakefield, a pilot who joined the Royal Naval Air Service back in January 17 and then transferred to the Royal Air Force a year later. So quite remarkable story his, even more remarkable and especially fitting for the Cup to honour his memory, because he was also one of the founding fathers of the Royal Air Force Rugby Union. So it will be a special moment for the senior service to lift that particular trophy. I say 5 debutants in the RAF side, and you know, lots of them have come up through the 23s, but it is a very different challenge, shall we say, when you play in this inter-services. I mean, you've coached both levels. Is it a big step up?
Yeah, it is. The speed of the game, the size of the players, how much less room you therefore have as a consequence is a big step up, and hopefully all 3 services will be looking to carry on grooming and preparing the 23s every autumn to come through and add depth when the players mature, or indeed when they just come in new to the service as well. It's a good feeding ground, a breeding ground rather, and it really does feed well into all three senior teams.
And it is that evolution that brings the 23s through to the senior service. Before I hear your thoughts on that, let's get down pitch side, and Kath has got, I presume, the Vodafone player of the match, Jake Hanley.
And I'm pitch side here with winning Royal Navy captain Jared Hayler and man of the match Jake Hanley. Jared, I'll come to you first. What do you think made the difference? Because I think you were definitely the stronger side, and winning that first half seemed to help you a lot.
I think this week we really just stuck to the basics, really backed ourselves, and fortunately we came out on top. Real physical game, credit to the RAF. They really came at us hard, but credit to our lads, we really stuck there and won that physical battle, I think.
Jake, you are Vodafone player of the match. Really good kicks, some very ambitious ones as well, but it really made the difference getting those ones over.
Yeah, definitely. Just happy out to contribute. Most important we got the win today, and if I played one small little part, then just happy to get the win.
You've now got a 2-week break until Army Navy, but looking forward to another Premiership ground?
Absolutely, yeah, looking forward to that game. Again, I think we've got a few more gears to go, so we'll prep well and then see where we're at.
Jared, just a few words about your player of the match and your team in general. Really pleased with the performance today.
Yeah, I think Jake's come on massively, obviously, since joining this team. There's been opportunities that he has taken and hasn't taken, and he's really grown into the role. I think it's great to see him and Jordan 10-12 and as that combination. And as you saw, we're just backing him today, and he's getting him over the sticks, which is great.
And presumably you guys still in camp, still strong, sticking together for the next 2 weeks and continue on through to Twickenham.
Yeah, 100%. It's great to see the crowd here. It's a massive crowd, and the light of inter-service rugby is getting big now, which is awesome to see. Just like to take this opportunity to say thank you to everyone who's coming to support us, sponsors, all that. But great win for us today.
Great, boys. Go and get your just rewards.
Thank you.
It may sound a bit trite to say points mean prizes, but it makes all the difference to the psyche of the game and, of course, the match barometer.
Yeah, it's quite hard to win without them, isn't it?
But you know what I mean. when you can take all the points that are on offer on the tee, then it just adds pressure on the opposition because they look at the scoreboard.
Yeah, and you I mean, I guess it depends very much on the nature of the game very often. These days it's more fashionable to go to the corner to back that, and the Navy's line-out defence was pretty good today actually, and the RAF kept going to the corner a little bit, and they got one over on the far side, but not from that rolling maul per se. Territory, possession, that squeezes penalty count, that can squeeze those opposition defences. Perhaps you've got to play a long game sometimes. We'll see. That was the difference, and Jared was pretty quick to point to posts early doors, especially when they were on offer, and take those three, as you say. And ultimately, a 10-point ball game, that's all the difference.
With your Army cohort, Nikki O'Donnell, leading the trio up to receive their medals. Good game from her. I mean, she did exactly what she had to do. She laid down the law early and pretty much allowed a flowing game for the most part.
Yeah, I was trying to think of the last time there was a game without any cards or any factors. Very often you see that
good point.
Key 10-minute period with the yellow card, for example, making a bit of a difference, and refreshing to see none awarded.
And that certainly allowed the game to, compete, obviously, but also to find a very good flow to it. And both sides were able to really work the ball, and the RAF in particular, finding that width, maybe that a bit of nous from those tactics to play it in the right place.
I'm just looking across now at Tom Gardner speaking with the officials. I don't know if that might be a post-match follow-up from something he's seen or noticed from the officials today. I don't know.
Well, he's smiling.
He always is, Tom.
So the presentation party, Air Vice Marshal Harv Smythe, the RAF Rugby Union President, with his cohort Vice Admiral Andrew Burns, the Royal Navy Rugby Union President, and Stephen Nibbs, the head of Vodafone Business Security Enhanced, all there as...
Also known as the Yak.
The Yak, who's that?
Steve Nibbs.
Is he?
Steve Nibbs is from Vodafone, the Yak.
You better explain that.
Well, I don't think I can. You'll have to ask him at one point.
Oh,
But,
really?
You'll notice some of the Vodafone branding around the place, and they're become big supporters of UCAF and Services Rugby.
Great to have them on board, and vital to have them on board. These sponsors very important to the Inter-Services Championship as the RAF team step forward to receive their medals, and condolences no doubt from the party. Dave Manning, what an operator he is. He's just quite remarkable.
Yeah, another strong performance for Dave. I think he played 60 there on the tight head, as you said earlier on. Fantastic servant to RAF Rugby, and he'll be bitterly disappointed and looking to make amends, I'm sure, on May the 17th. He probably needs the 4 weeks off to recover, actually, Dave, but
deservedly
I'm
so.
sure he'll come back firing in a few weeks' time for the Army game.
My guess is he'll be turning out for Oxford Harlequins next week, but we shall wait and see as Jared Hayler.
Which goes to the Royal Navy's number 10, Jake Hadley.
Jake Hadley is going to get the Vodafone medal with youngster attached. Yeah, happy days. Very happy days as the youngster and Jake smile for the cameras.
They managed that game very well there, Jake. Good day out, and as Jared said, you know, he's had a couple of shots in and out of the team, and bumping Jordan got out to 12 and him to come in. You know, he's managed that really well. That can't be easy for a player. You know, you've got someone else who's used to pulling the strings perhaps for a lot of the time, or in previous seasons, and playing outside you, but he's managed that really well. We saw Jordan take the ball up, first receiver quite a lot, so Jake could pull the passes out as second pass. Yeah, tidy game.
Certainly seemed to work that 10-12 axis for the senior service as they step forward now to receive their medals, and Jared Hayler there, the number 8, will be last man up to receive the Wavell Wakefield trophy. Good healthy crowd clapping them through. Matavesi and co, Ed Pascoe.
El Bizo looking splendid as ever, the man of the match. And then finally the skipper. It's been a good day here, isn't it, Simon?
Well, I always thoroughly enjoy it, but it's been a really good game, a really interesting game tactically. And of course it was a tight game as we expected, and it's been a great start to this year's Inter-Services Championship. I can't wait to get to Twickenham in a fortnight's time and see what you've got in store for the silver service, senior service, as the trophy is lifted in the air. Tim, thank you very much for your company this afternoon.
Pleasure, thank you, Simon.
It's been a real pleasure sitting next to you and learning from what you've had to say, and we look forward to seeing you at Twickenham. Thank you wherever you're watching our broadcast from. Thank you to all the cameramen, all the technicians, to Kath, to everybody that's been involved in this broadcast here this afternoon. I've been Simon Ward. We look forward to seeing you in a fortnight's time at Twickenham, but for now, from the Cinch Stadium at Franklin's Gardens, it's a very good night.
And a very...
we have seen here at Twickenham. Oh my goodness me.
The Navy go again here, and surely they've got the numbers on there.
Beautiful try.
Wonderful score there, the Army.
Try number 4 is over the line for the senior service.
Only seconds to go here at Twickenham.
The Army are the victors. Incredible 80 minutes of Inter-Services action.
They've certainly been through an absolute battle, haven't they?